I'll scream and choke. 6 feet under, you'll surely croak. Boogeyman's coming, you're not alone. No escape, it's grave and bone.
Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to be taking a look at some more Home Depot offerings for 2023. If you watched my last video, you know that Tom and I were lucky enough to be able to attend the media event showcasing their 2023 offerings for Halloween this year. Got some good ones. In the last video, we explored their theme, Dead Water. And today we're going to be looking at a theme that they're bringing back this year, and that's the Grave and Bones. Now, some of these things, of course, we've seen in previous years, so I'm not really going to highlight those, but there are some new offerings for us to take a look at. And we're going to take a look at a selection of those today, starting with this, which I think is very apropos. This is the 7.5-foot Grave and Bones Archway. So an archway is the perfect intro. Let's take a look.
Abandon all your hope and cheer. The 7.5-foot Skull and Bones Archway spells death for those who dare draw near. Reaching higher than 7.5 feet tall and stretching more than 6.5 feet wide, the archway proudly displays the rotting remains of anyone foolish enough to cross its threshold. Skulls and bones of various shapes and sizes, all painted in dreadful detail, line its broad and sweeping arc, sending out a stern warning to trick-or-treaters and partygoers to enter at their own risk. For there are no guarantees in life, or the afterlife for that matter.
All right, you know me. I love a good archway. I use inflatable archways as entries into the different zones of my Halloween party, and this is amazing. It is very kind of a realistic skull effect, so it's much more creepier than the cheesy inflatable archways. I'm very excited about this prop. It's a bit pricey. It's $199. It's a little hard to tell in the video here, but does appear to be on the advertisement page a bar along the bottom. I'm a little concerned about that. Might be a tripping hazard. Might have to put some sort of rug or mat over it. Maybe a red carpet into your Halloween haunt, going right through that skull archway. Again, I super love the look of this. And we have a 8-foot giant LED skull stack that you could even put alongside it. Now, this is very reminiscent of those stacked pumpkins that everyone went wild for last year. But this time, they are skulls. Let's take a look.
To stack or not to stack? That is the question posed by the enormous, eye-popping 8-foot skull stack. This towering totem brims with bright, energy-efficient LED light, illuminating 5 frightening faces, each bigger and more bone-chilling than the last. Stack your skulls straight up on the durable metal support for an imposing image, or separate and place them where you like. Each skull is lit individually for maximum mayhem. When Fright Night is over and the catacombs call, storage is simple. The smallest 4 skulls nest inside one another, and all fit within the largest one for easy entombment. This year, why merely keep up with the Joneses? With the 8-foot skull stack, you can finally get ahead. Or 5. Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
All right, I could totally picture, if you're not going to do that archway, one of these stacked skulls on either side of your driveway or doorway or something as another way to really announce an entrance to a haunt. Again, it's the same price as the archway. It's $199, a bit on the pricey side. But it is amazing because, again, you not only could stack them and make that really dramatic entranceway, but you could also just use lots of skulls. If you were doing some sort of skeleton or skull theme, you automatically have, 5 or so of those skulls, and they all coordinate. That's what I really like, too, is, if you wanted to put lots of skulls all around, make that sort of a theme, you got to take what you can get. But when you can get something that coordinates, it makes it just a little bit nicer. Speaking of coordinating, now I'm not going to show you the video of Dean the Deathologist. They do have one here, but we did a review of him last year. He's part of the Skull and Bones selection. Apparently, he sold out so fast last year that they brought him back. He's super popular. I loved him. He was a great prop. I highly recommend him. And this year, they had a companion piece. Let's take a look at that.
There once was a skeleton maid who made all the children afraid.
If you're looking for a little help, the 5.5-foot Marie meddling maid is to die for. More crypt keeper than housekeeper, one look at her tattered dress, and you know this bare-boned beauty has spent a lifetime or two in grueling service. But she's had enough of all that, and now with feather duster in hand, Marie is ready to clean house. Plug her in, and her tired, sunken eyes glow red with rage, brightly lit by energy-efficient LEDs. Trigger her motion sensor, and the bottle she brandishes swings up and down in her ancient arm as her jaw begins to move, syncing with 7 spine-tingling sayings.
It seems that the more I dust, the more spider webs that appear. And there's always so much blood to clean.
No rest for the wicked, and clicking her ruby-red slippers together won't work either. The 6-foot animated Marie meddling maid is positively buried in her work, and the murder and mayhem and mopping is only just the beginning.
I've been worked clear to the bone. Why, you can nearly see right through me.
Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
Now, if you've been watching my videos last year, I have talked about how I had my Dean the Deathologist and I bought a butler as well, and I kept lamenting the fact that there was no maid to complete our servant selection. And here we have it. I'm very excited to say we have Marie the Meddling Maid for $149, which I believe was the same price as Dean the Deathologist. Completely a bargain. Now, I don't honestly love the maid. There's something about her feet in the sort of sparkly high heel shoes that really bothers me. But, you know, if you remember Dean, he also had some really unique shoes too. So maybe that's just the thing they're going for. What also kind of really irks me is, why does she have the bottle that she's raising to like hit somebody? Why is a maid doing that? I feel like she should have just maybe had her feather duster and maybe something else that was super creepy. But on the other hand, she does coordinate, I guess, with Dean the Deathologist. He's mixing the drinks with his bottle. She's hitting people over the head with them. You could really make kind of a fun vignette with the three of them and a dead body of some sort. But that's the maid. Let's see what's next on the list. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2.5-foot skeleton sheepdog, because what household doesn't have a dog to go along with the servants? Let's see how it looks.
Man's best friend? Not this furious furball. No, the 2.5-foot animated skeleton sheepdog is bad to the bone. Beneath a weather-worn coat, its eyes glow red and ravenous with energy-efficient LED light. With posable joints, you can tell this fearsome Fido to sit or stand. But no command can keep you safe from its realistic moving mouth. Sound sensor activated, the battery-powered dog has a gruesome growl and snaps at partygoers and passerbys alike. Ready to pounce like, well, a dog on a fresh and juicy bone. Perhaps one of yours. Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
I have to admit, I really like that dog. It has a unique take on that skeleton dog effect that's everywhere. I have a couple of skeleton dogs myself. Got my skeleton cat right here on the table. But the fur on this thing is what really sells it. It kind of looks like a decayed skeleton with sort of that old fur that's sort of falling off the poor dead animal. So it is $39.98. That's a price that's certainly not going to kill you. So it's definitely a good bargain, I think. But let's go ahead and move up the list here. If we weren't going to pose our skeleton with the butler and the maid and the the family. Maybe it's the 6-foot animated spell-casting witch that is the mistress of the manor. Let's go ahead and take a look.
I have newt, tongue of goat, licorice root, and werewolf throat. Delicious potion for a happy Halloween!
They say curiosity killed the cat, but unless you feel like cashing in all 9 lives at once, it would be wise to steer clear of the animated spell-casting witch. At 6 feet tall and dressed in a long black robe with a tattered red shawl, she reads from her bewitching book of spells. Her rotten green skin and red-rimmed eyes should be reason enough to stay away, but with sensitive sound motion, this wicked witch springs to life at the drop of her pointed hat. Her head and mouth moving as she calls to you, beckoning you forth.
What pretty, pretty eyes you have, my dear. Let me take them from you, just for a brew minute.
But why stop at the eyes? Why not lend this spellcasting witch an ear, a hand, or your tongue and tonsils too? Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
It's so easy to create a coven of witches. Every year it seems like Home Depot has something bigger and better than ever. We did see in the last video a very tall, very awesome multi-servo effect, which that had a lot more going on with it. This one is only $99, so it's a much lower price point. You do get a little bit less of the effects, obviously. Didn't really like the eyes that were just sort of light up lights. Doesn't have that sort of LCD light or eye effect. Where it looks around, it looks a little bit more realistic in the mouth. You know, some of the higher end animatronics that Home Depot offers more are like the rubber masks that have the more realistic movement of the mouth. But if you're not looking to spend that higher price point, the $100 price point on this, you can't go wrong with. But let's go ahead and explore one of those higher price point items to complete our household. I can already envision this whole story going on in my mind with the mansion, and you've got the pathologist and the maid and the mistress and the dog, and they've concocted some scheme to get rid of the master of the house. And to do that, they're going to need the help of a gravedigger. So let's check him out.
Ever wonder what it's like to be buried alive? Well, maybe tonight will be your lucky night then.
Fortune favors the bold, and if it's a treasure you seek, this gruesome grave robber might be the perfect person to help you find it. That is, if you're willing to get your hands dirty. Dressed in blood-spattered clothing, a large overcoat keeps him covered in the darkest mausoleum, while his boots stay on the ready for the next job. His fearsome face is old and weathered, while silver hair sprinkles out and onto his tired shoulders, all covered by a dusty, dirty top hat.
The things I've seen would make your skin crawl.
This thrilling thief and his ornithological assistant have a penchant for the rich at rest, and they're itching to tell you all about it. When triggered, the grave robber readies his shovel, clenched by decrepit hands.
Some folks get superstitious about digging up the dead. Well, I can't blame them. The things I've seen would make your skin crawl.
The ever-watchful owl might like a treat or two for himself. His eyes glow bright yellow, keeping a lookout for the law. Or worse, fresh graves do seem to be popping up just about everywhere. Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
All right, once again, I'm a year too early. Last year, I bought a different gravedigger, and I partially did that because the Home Depot had that casket available, and I wanted to make a graveyard grave digging scene, so I bought a gravedigger online. But this guy is pretty awesome. I think he's the same price as the one I bought last year. He's $199, but he's got different movement. Like the gravedigger I bought last year was holding his shovel up on his shoulder. This guy's a lot more active. He's got his foot on the shovel. Looks like he's starting to dig the grave itself. I could actually put both grave diggers together as if they're in their team. I can certainly come up with some scenario where they're in the same world. And I like this because year after year, as we keep building all these prop collections together, you can really form that more cohesive display. So that is the gravedigger. Really like him. Very good price point. That sort of middle price point, I think, is kind of the sweet spot where it's a little bit more affordable, but still has a lot of nice, neat effects like he did with a more realistic looking face and mouth movements. All right, let's go to a little bit more creepy now and see what the 8-foot animated boogeyman has to offer.
Run as much as your heart desires. I will always find you.
Ready or not, here comes the boogeyman, and you're it. At a staggering 8 feet tall, this big bad boogeyman is hell-bent on one thing: your soul. Tall, dark, and absolutely horrific, he's dressed in a slim black suit and spattered button-down with stringy black hair spilling down his gray, ghoulish face. Trigger his motion sensor, and your worst nightmare comes to life. His eerie, skin-draped eyes and bony hands glow with bright white light. His arms reach out as he turns from side to side, searching for you. His jaw moving up and down as he calls through webbed lips.
I am inside your head. There is no escape.
What happens when two become one? If the Boogie Monster has his way, you're about to find out. Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
Can you imagine if this was what the gravedigger dug up? This guy is totally scary. He's the same price as the gravedigger, which is not scary at all, at $199. But he's 8 feet tall. He's got that really creepy look. He's got a lot going for him. You get a lot of bang for your buck. That sort of weird mouth effect that goes on is super creepy. It's going to make children very scared. And you know, I love a scared child. If a child runs away in tears, I know I've done my job. And I think this guy is the perfect addition to make that a job well done. All right, let's see what else we can add to that. Next up is the 8-foot Smoldering Reaper.
If you value life, you should turn back now.
To the animated smoldering Reaper of Souls, you are a dish best served terrified. Hell-bent on havoc, he stands an intimidating 8 feet tall, armed with a terrifyingly realistic scythe. It is adorned with a jagged, bejeweled base, and the bones of souls past and present. The bone-crushing blade is gilded with a screeching skull with menacing red eyes. This usher to the underworld wants to take all who cross its path to their ultimate end. Cloaked in a long blood-red robe, the Reaper of Souls stands solemn in shadow. Make death dance, and its eerie eyes come alive with red LED light. Its bare, fleshless chest flickers and burns. Its horrible head turns slowly from side to side, and its mouth moves in sync as it calls out.
I love the sounds of your whimpered pleading. It's like music to my ears.
And if you die before you wake, it won't be the Lord your soul to take. Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
All right, I'm not going to say too much about the Smoldering Reaper because I think we have seen him in years past. In fact, I believe it was something that I would have liked to have bought for my cemetery, but he just didn't quite fit in the budget. He is $249, not completely awful, but when you're trying to, buy a lot of props, you got to pick and choose what works best in your theme. So I passed on him. He might be something I might consider this year. He, as I said, I believe was 8 feet tall. Was that right? Yes, 8 feet tall. Of course, everything this year is, bigger and better. So we're going to take a look. Well, actually, we're not really going to take a look at the 12-foot skeleton. They did bring him back this year. Not going to show you that video, but what I am going to show you is kind of interesting. They have now made an LED lighting kit for the 12-foot skeleton, and I assume you could use that on maybe some of your other 12-foot props as well, but I'm not sure. Let's take a look and find out.
What is the star of the show without a spotlight? The Home Accents Holiday 12-foot Skeleton Lighting Kit draws every eye right to the main attraction, bringing a true titan of terror to light. Choose the color that best highlights the horror in your Halloween display, or opt for rotating hues all Hallows Eve long. The Home Accents Holiday 12-foot Skeleton Lighting Kit plugs into the skeleton's existing cables, so setup is simple, even if your full Halloween setup isn't. Whatever it takes for the big night's biggest fright.
Happy Halloween, and thanks for shopping at the Home Depot.
Okay, so that might be a little harder to use on all of your props. It does specifically look like it is made for the 12-foot skeleton, but it really is kind of neat. It's only $30, and it really, I've always said that the lighting can really make a difference in your display. Love the fact that this can change colors however you want it, and it's going to draw your eye to what is inevitably a show-stopping piece in your display. So once again, I have to point out Home Depot is doing a great job innovating this year. They're listening to all of their clients and customers and listening to what we want, and they're really excited to make our Halloween displays better this year. In fact, you're going to want to check these things out really quick on their website. They are going to start selling all of these products and more on Thursday, the 13th of July, and then they're going to start selling them in the stores starting Labor Day weekend. So we are going to do some store walkthroughs to look at all of the merchandise as we get closer to Halloween in that time frame. We aren't quite done seeing all of the Halloween merchandise. We took a look in another video at the Dead Water collection. This again was Grave and Bones. There's still the Disney collection to look at, as well as the Halloween classics. So stay tuned for that. Until then, take care everyone, and happy haunting.
Time to take another soul.